Excited. Actually saw the weather forecast supposed to rain all last night and all today, so to get a little break in the action here, to get out of the stadium and have relatively good weather. Obviously, the wind was blowing pretty good, but really thought our guys handled that moment pretty good. Obviously with the new offense and coaching, obviously Barry, and then the transition with Ben not being out there with Fro at the tight end position, and a couple things I thought just couldn't be prouder of our coaches, just the way they kind of handled the moment. A lot of good chatter out there, a lot of good communication. I thought our guys really responded well. Defensively, obviously going to make adjustments from the fall, but I thought our guys really, new faces and new spots, handled the moment pretty good. Really concentrated today in the red area. Didn't do much out in the field, just stayed inside of 20 for a couple different reasons, just how important that area of the field is, but also then we weren't opening up on 40, 50-yard routes and stuff like that. Kind of condensed the field and cut back any potential soft tissue injuries. So a couple guys are limited. Really the only guy that looks to be out for a considerable amount of the spring would really just be a couple guys that recovering from surgery. Elijah McCantos, a freshman corner who had surgery on his shoulder, is really the only guy that's probably going to be limited throughout the whole spring. So from a health standpoint, we're pretty good. A couple guys recovering from some soft tissue, but overall handled that pretty well. So with that, open up for questions.
It's only day one, but I mean, how impressed are you with some of the new guys that came onto this team, especially in the quarterback position?
Yeah, obviously Tommy was probably where everybody wants to focus their attention, and Tommy can throw the football. Has good demeanor. I think his football IQ is high. It comes to him very naturally. He's been playing quarterback for a long time, and it shows. I think our guys respond to him. Samari Collier's made a nice jump from where we were in the spring to where we are today. Matt Robinson came in yesterday and informed us he's going in the portal, so he wasn't out there. But really, other than that, and then Art actually starts throwing today. So I know he's been excited. I've been warning him every day for the last 2 weeks that he couldn't throw until today. So excited for him to make that progress as well. Freshmen jumped out, right? A couple guys, at the running back position, both Jordan Anderson and Aiden Lawfrey are two guys that got a lot of talent, two different type of backs, but Josh was a little bit limited with soft tissue injury, so those guys got more extensive action out there today. Chase looks good. I think the other receiver that jumps out, Sean Miller, definitely is a guy that can make some plays and do some things. Owen Anderson made a nice catch today defensively. It was neat to see Malachi Hood out there running around. First chance to really look at Kalen Villanueva at the linebacker position. So, there were some guys that jumped out. Some returning vets. Casey Washington made a couple nights. Casey Washington, the thing I love about Casey is he loves football. He loves to work. He's a big, strong, athletic receiver. Made a couple nice plays today. I think that's a guy that really can make our offense go as well.
Brett, obviously a depth chart would be really fluid at this point, but what does it do for your guys? What message or not message does it send when guys see where they stack up at this moment?
Well, the depth chart is just kind of a posting right now, right? Told our guys just when we take the field, we can only put 11 guys out there. That's really the only reason the depth chart exists. No one's really got a guaranteed position or anything along that matter. To be quite honest, Julian Pearl, unfortunately, was playing a little pickup basketball game. Got in the March Madness fever and got out there in the basketball court. He unfortunately injured his thumb, so he isn't out there right now. So that cut us down one tackle spot. Obviously, Palcho back out there really helped us. And then with Isaiah Adams and Zai at the tackle position, that gave us a lot of added depth there. But really, I think our guys know that to earn spots here, you got to have accountability, and hopefully that's going to show up here in the first 2-3 practices, and we'll see where we're at. Saturday we won't really scrimmage; it'll be a full-fledged practice with full pads, but we're only allowed 2 scrimmages besides the spring game, so those will come on the following 2 Saturdays. So this week is just a lot about good fundamental work.
Brett, obviously you set a great foundation for your defense last year, but a lot of different personnel. How do you build on that with the guys who got some time to know?
Yeah, so the number one thing for me right now is leadership of guys that are returning, right? Like, you think about the group that we have right now, so they prepared going into that COVID year to be the last year with that group of seniors, right? And then COVID and the rules that exist allowed all those guys to come back when we got here. So some of them had been waiting literally for almost 2 years to pop into that leadership role. So to see some of that emerge, Johnny Newton texted me this morning, first thing. I know he's excited to step into that role. I think on defense, you especially look at Johnny, Keith, Tariq. CJ Hart, even though he was only there for 1 year, he prepared with our guys all last year really did a nice job this fall once he could get moving around, being integrated with our guys. He was out there running around today, looked really good. I think two guys in the back end, Sid and Quan, very much leadership capability. Spoon, he's always going to lead because you always hear him. Sometimes maybe the leadership isn't exactly guided the right way, but I think he is a guy that will always be that kind of motivational guy.
On the sort of leadership front, talking with Isaiah Williams today, he said that kind of his goal for himself this spring was to be more of a vocal leader and not waste any reps.
Yeah.
When he gets out there. Just what kind of, having that mindset from that guy in particular, was that good for you?
You don't always hear Isaiah, but you always feel him, right? Like he's just got one of those kids that's got that demeanor, his maturity, his love and passion for the game. I can't tell you how many times since I got here a year ago in December that I'll come over to the building or I'll be leaving the building at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and Isaiah will be in here, right? Like throwing around in the indoor. Just he's a gym rat type kid, and you can see the way he's adapted to this offense. He's always in Gio's office, always with Barry. Today on the concepts and the routes that he was involved in, you can see it really. I think has sparked his interest even to a higher level if that's possible. So I'm really excited to see Isaiah. I think he is trying to be more vocal, and it's more vocal by maybe personal interactions. He's never going to be a guy, I don't think, that'll stand up and scream in front of the group, but I definitely think his individual actions will be great leadership.
Isaiah said he's excited to kind of get back to a tempo offense.
Yeah.
How excited are you to kind of see that with some of the speed?
I couldn't be more impressed today. Just it shows that the kids have put in a lot of extra time. The NCAA has a number of rules that we have to follow, right? It's about the time that we can have with them, and it's really been limited until now. But you can tell, just the things that they've done on their own, the amount of volume that they put in with themselves, right? Just trying to get ready for today with the quarterbacks, interaction on, from the huddle to the signaling to the communication on the field. It was really pretty clean out there. I was very impressed. And then just our coaches, there's just, when we're playing, I know a non-huddle, right? So we've always been huddling ever since we've been here. There's a lot of interaction between the play, a lot of coaching. Now there's a lot of coaching on the run, a lot of film work that we'll coach off of. But I thought our guys handled that moment really, really well. Everybody, the players, the coaches, our managers were awesome. It was just a really good tempo practice.
Barry talked about cultivating that trust with those guys.
Yeah.
What did you see them do specifically to kind of start the process that before getting out there?
With Barry? Yeah. Barry's, the thing it was funny, I was talking with Pat Ryan, obviously a longtime high school coach, Hall of Fame coach. In my coaching career, when I've been around coaches that have had high school experience, just how they coach on the run, and they're very over-communicative. I think when you're dealing and coaching high school players, you really have to understand that they don't know much, right? You got to teach them everything. You got to coach them on all the details. And I think Barry, through those, when I first got him, he had come off of, several years in high school football, and his attention to detail, his communication skills, he's very direct, very, very specific in the things that he says. He's not a catchphrase guy, but the things he says mean a lot, and I think our players have gravitated to that. You guys were out there, they were just running a little screen period there, right? And there was a lot of reps happening in a short amount of time with a lot of really good coaching that took place while that was going on, and I think that's just a little good indication of how effective his communication is.
Coach, how is your feeling now as the coach of last year?
Without a question, just the way we communicate. I think one thing that jumped out to me when I first got here, from individual meetings, individual conversations, to watching our guys practice, to seeing our guys in winter drills last year, to the way we grew during the spring and the fall, to where we are today, they just communicate very much at a different level. They understand nobody knows what you're saying or doing until you speak it, right? And to speak it clearly, and being able to communicate, both being able to speak it and hear it, I think that's the biggest jump for us. Now, physically, we look different, right? Our guys, 2 years with Tank, it's our guys physically look a little different in a good way. I'm very proud of the guys that have added weight, but also a lot of guys. I think Calvin Avery's down 15, 16 pounds. Veritas is down. He lost actually 5 pounds during break. Like just things like that we've been pretty detailed on those guys about. They've been able to follow through on it.
Coach, you kind of hit the reset button on the offense, coaches. Does that put you behind it all when you start spring ball? And how much of the offense do you think you can get installed in the spring?
We'll get in all the offense we can get installed. We got a day one install. We got a day two install that'll play off of what we get into day one. I don't think it's a reset of an offense. It's more as a start of a new offense. And obviously we have players that return, but it's a new offensive scheme. It's a new play caller. I think the other big factor, right, is BP was there for almost that whole practice today, and go into last year's game, that opener, he was the starter, and obviously Art transitioned in there a little bit, but to have a group of quarterbacks that are going to be starting with a new offensive play caller, a new offensive system, all on the same line is a good place to be.
So one or two things that you really want to get done in the next 14 workouts?
What are the?
Is there one or two things you really?
Yeah, I think
next?
without a doubt, I think the more football IQ and awareness we can preach to our guys, the better we're going to be. I think they understand that a little bit more, right? Like one of the things that we preach on to all of our guys is just, you only get better every day, right? You can't stay steady. You can't do anything but move forward. And our guys really understand that now. There's a hunger to them, the eagerness. I think one thing that jumped out to me when I walked around the stadium today was just the buzz of our guys and the communication. It's not false. It's just like, hey, what do we got to do to work, right? And nothing really phases them. I think I used to slap them in the face a little bit last year every day, with different comments or things, and they would kind of, take a flinch, and there is no flinch in these guys. I'm very excited. Like, we have 14 practices like that. Moving forward, we're going to be in a good spot.